finding as to the, let's say, the significance of the conference for St. Martin?
I find the conference highly significant for St. Martin, first of all, as a overseas territory hosting for the very first time, after having just signed an MOU in July of this year as a member to an associate member of SEDEMA. As you know, because of our special connection to the kingdom, we are not a CARICOM country, and as such, we cannot always participate fully. But in this regard, St. Martin is hosting the conference. It has brought over 18 countries here, over 300 delegates, especially youth delegates, and St. Martin's youth delegates have also been involved, and for me that's important. We have a lot to share because of our recent experiences with two major hurricanes, as well as 22 years ago with Louise. So the difference in how it was handled, preparation, resilience. I believe that what has come to fore, the Bahamas is also represented here. So even a more recent, you could say, candidate who has suffered as a country. I believe that coming together and making plans for resiliency and recovery, especially ahead of a storm, is important for all of us, because we know what it is to deal with it and being unprepared. So very, very happy that we're able to host as well as participate as fully as we did.
The conference was good specifically towards preparing the countries in participation for future disasters, or even in the aftermath of disasters. Would you therefore say that it has lived up to its expectation?
I believe it has. I think it has surpassed its expectations. Many of the delegates, every day I have to come back down in another capacity. I ended up being here more because I represented the Minister of Education at one day. And the feedback received from the delegates, from the presenters, there are several exhibitions around of different aspects of dealing with emergency disasters and recovery and resilience. The feedback has been great. Funding agencies are here. The World Bank is here. UNICEF is here. So it is. It's good for the Caribbean region for us to come together as a unit, because we are facing hurricanes individually, and we might have positives in our own countries, but most of the time the negatives outweigh the positives. And if we become united in dealing with disasters, especially under this new SEDEMA effort, I believe that we can benefit greatly in recovering much faster. So I believe we have surpassed our expectations for this conference.
Finally, based on the information gathered during the conference, how do you intend to at least meet with your EFS to discuss it and make sure that St. Martin has a better comprehensive understanding of the entire situation as it pertains to disaster?
Well, my first step would be to meet with all the participants from our different ESFs who are part of this conference. All of them were represented here, as well as the business community and other stakeholders that are necessary for the recovery of St. Martin. And then we will sit down and assess where the NRPB are with its projects and ensure that we are in line with some of the recommendations made here, and then move forward in that way, because we do have several months before the next hurricane season begins, but we have to be ready in all seasons for any type of disaster.
How would you go about describing the overall hosting of this conference on St. Martin?
Well, first of all, it was an honor and a privilege for St. Martin to be able to host this conference. Together with SEDEMA, we've been working on this for a couple of months. The government of St. Martin supported this. We had about 200 to 300 overseas delegates, but also especially the local attendance was impressive. On Wednesday, we had a total of about 400 attendees, and that was really impressive. Private sector, government agencies, students, all kind of different things.
Now, based on the information as was able to be gathered during the conference on St. Martin, how do you, as an emergency organization, intend to use and distribute among the people of St. Martin in particular?
Well, I think this conference for us was also very important to showcase, is perhaps a big word, but to let the region see how we have bounced back since the big storms from 2017. St. Martin is contemplating becoming an associate member of SEDEMA, which is the large overall disaster management agency, also in charge of this conference. And once we are an associate member, we are able to implement a lot of programs they have developed for schools, for communities, for the private sector, for the government agencies. So it's the spin-off, will not be immediate, but it will come in the near future.
Is there this one thing overall that you're taking away from this conference to ensure that it is also implemented on St. Martin?
For me, the most interesting session was, well, not so much most interesting, but it reinforces the importance of early warning systems, how we can alert the population in a timely fashion with the proper information how to do that. The minister from Romania a few days ago gave an extensive demonstration and presentation on cell broadcasting. And that is something St. Martin is for years trying to implement, but due to the high cost, it didn't really happen. But we have put it on the program for the World Bank, so let's hope we get some funding. And then we will be able to alert people much faster and give them the right information at the right time.
GEBE has been faithfully serving the communities of St. Martin, powering your home and our economy. Come rain or shine, our qualified team of professionals are working hard 24 hours a day to provide you and your family with safe, reliable electricity and water. We use the latest technologies and test our products daily to maintain the highest international standards. Our friendly staff is always there to assist you, whether in person, over the phone, or online. We are committed to constantly improving our products and services, making them more efficient, effective, and environmentally friendly to serve you better today and our next generation of clients tomorrow. GEBE, powering a brighter future.
Our friend Megawati is here with tips to save you energy. 1. Turn your airco temperature up. 2. Use a ceiling fan instead. 3. Buy energy-saving products. Save some green with NVGEBE.
Make use of WIB mobile banking with easy access and direct usage of face recognition, PIN code, or fingerprint. Download WIB mobile banking app and make your transaction from anywhere at any time. For more information, visit wib-bank.net/quick-login.
How are you doing this morning?
Good.
So, Rebecca, thank you for coming. I work as a psychologist at the Mental Health Foundation. I mainly see children and adolescents, but I also see adults.
So whenever there's a crowd, that's when you're starting to feel
nervous,
okay,
nauseous.
Okay, it is kind of like your body. We are so used to taking care of our body. If we have a little ache in our foot, we know to rest it. We know, okay, I might have walked too much, so I need to rest. Now, of course, that can be just an ache in my foot, but I can also break my leg. Now, for breaking my leg, I would have to go to the doctor. So that kind of goes the same for mental health illnesses. So you can come in for something little as, I'm really stressed out lately. What would you need? A little bit of rest. But someone can also come in with way more difficulties. We're not here to judge right or wrong, good or bad. Is it helpful for you? Fine. Is it not helpful for you? Okay, then let's see what we can do about it. But not a wrong nor right, absolutely not. It's a magnifying glass without judgment.
Well, there's still a lot of stigma on the island, unfortunately. It's not a topic that people easily talk about, and that's a shame. They're afraid that they get judged, and there is still quite a bit of judgment. I mean, often we hear, don't go to that crazy house. Once you go in, you never go back. And it's just not true, We treat a lot of patients here, and a lot of them, we get back on their feet.
Our goal at the Mental Health Foundation is for us to help you improve your life, for you to live a better, happier, and fuller life.
It is a great day to be here for this first National Risk Assessment Conference to be held in St. Martin. This conference introduces the implementation of the first recommendations of the Financial Action Task Force, which is assessing risk, applying risk-based approach. The first recommendation of the FATF reads as follows. Countries should identify, assess, and understand the money laundering and terrorist financing risk for the country and should take action including designating an authority mechanism to coordinate actions to assess risk and apply resources aimed at ensuring the risks are mitigated effectively. To comply with above-mentioned recommendations, St. Martin has to carry out an NRA assessment that will commence in March of 2020. This elaborate exercise that will take approximately 2 years to complete and involves the input of both the public and the private sectors. The report of the NRA will create the foundation to enter into the fourth round of the mutual evaluations guided by the CFATF, the Caribbean Financial Action Task Force. St. Martin will be evaluated in 2024. The National Risk Assessment will allow us to identify the money laundering terrorist financial risk and to formulate policy to mitigate the risk. As you might have already heard, the CFATF members issued a public statement last week to urge St. Martin to expedite the process of addressing its AML-CTF deficiencies, including the enforcement of outstanding legislation. In the event St. Martin fails to report the desired results in May of 2020, the CFATF may call on member jurisdictions to apply countermeasures against St. Martin in order to protect their financial systems from ongoing money laundering and terrorist financial risk emanating from St. Martin. The government does not consider it a small cash-based community to be neither generator nor the recipient of the billions of laundered monies that float around the world. It is therefore not considered St. Martin to be a threat to the financial system of other countries. However, we will carry our responsibilities and see that St. Martin complies with the international standards that aim to disrupt the flow of illegal money potentially running through St. Martin. We expect that the NRA that will be discussed today and tomorrow to provide us with information on the risks we are facing where it concerns money laundering, terrorist financing and action plans, policy, additional legislation that will be established in order to mitigate the chance of abuse by criminal organizations or persons who want to support terrorist activities worldwide. The civil servants and the private sector have a big role to play. The Ministry of TIAT grants licenses to the casino lotteries, the companies that carry out economic activities that pose a high risk in terms of vulnerability to money laundering. The Ministry of ROMIC grants licenses for individuals and companies to carry out real estate constructions. A criminal often uses real estate constructions to launder criminal proceeds. We are happy that the private sector will be here, that is here now this afternoon. St. Martin is a cash-based economy. Money launderers are known to misuse big and small companies to launder generated funds through criminal activities. The government of St. Martin expects that the service providers, especially the ones who fall within the scope of the anti-money laundering laws, to carry their responsibilities and carry out the customer due diligence requirements to prevent their businesses that are misused to launder proceeds that are derived from crime. We thank the Central Bank of Curaçao and St. Martin for their support towards the organization of this event and for providing their insights and experience that Curaçao NRA exercise has experienced. We also welcome Ms. Lisa Boswick of the World Bank, who will elaborate on the methodology that will be used to conduct the NRA in St. Martin. We look forward to learn from the experience of other countries that we have that use this World Bank tool. We also welcome Mr. Francis Arana, head of the Anti-Money Laundering Unit from the Attorney General Chambers in the Cayman Islands. We thank the government of the Cayman Islands and Mr. Arana for their willingness to assist St. Martin and look forward to hear from him tomorrow as he elaborates on the NRA that was held in the Cayman Islands in 2014 and 2015. And we also welcome representatives from the Customs of Curaçao, the Giro Bank of Curaçao, who will be relating to us about their public and private sector experience with the NRA and the necessary preparations that they went through. Ladies and gentlemen, this conference was organized to create the necessary awareness for all of us on impending exercise between now and February of 2020. The formal structures of conducting the NRA will be prepared representation of the relevant ministries and supervised entities in the private sector. This exercise will start in March of 2020 and the second half of 2021. As indicated before, this will give us the time to start preparing for the fourth mutual evaluations which will take place in 2024. The date of March 2020 may seem far in time, but we work and carry out and during and after the NRA, which includes amending existing legislation and drafting new legislation in an extensive way, and this is why we should start now. I wish you a productive, informative conference, and I look forward to reaching solid foundation in the upcoming NRA exercise.
In all honesty, this police force was going to fall apart. And I recognize very well what Yanchi said, what Tony said. Me and Ricky did everything. It's now I saw the classes of new recruits. We went to Sabre, Stacia, St. Martin, everywhere. We recruited people. We had to organize the carnival without a budget and make sure during that carnival period everyone was served well, in the sense of you work hard, you need to be served well. We did all of this together. So today it will be hard for me to see empty chairs here. It's not hurting that much that Ricardo Hansen is leaving, because by now I understand that. It's hard to see empty chairs here. Knowing what this person meant to the organization, knowing very personal with Ricky. I know how people were trying to chop down that big tree where you spoke about, Rensley. I know how people was trying to chop it down. And again, I'm going to repeat, it hurts me to see that the chairs are empty, because I know the lengths he went, and I know how much he offered Bonnie, and I know how much he offered her everything in his private life to make this work. It hurts me when these chairs are empty. We should give respect to these type of people. We should take their example. And I want to look at the girls in red. I see you guys crying. I'm going to repeat what I just said. Take Ricky's example. Ricky's example was the one to unify and keep this police force together. No matter how tired you are, no matter how John called you every 5 minutes to come do something. So that what you just told me a while ago, you're going to retire with Ricky, you have a lot more years to go. My brother, my friend, your leaving don't mean much to me in the sense of our relationship. And I just get, like we always say, we have to get the okay from the wives. I just got the okay from Bonnie, that I know where you live, so you can't hide. But what's gonna stay with me is, even though this all take a toll on your personal life, your health. What's going to stay with me is never touch your integrity. That's the example I would want every other officer to take away from today. I'm not going to salute you. I'm not going to do none of those things because you're going to be my friend forever. And the only one who really, and you know this, I really cry to is to Ricky. And you took it as a man, my brother. Thanks for everything.
Bam, 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 bam. Bam. Adult toy store.
Okay, it's a beautiful plaque. Wrong ball, it says, you have touched many lives in your 44 years of dedicated service to the St. Martin Police Force. Congratulations on your retirement, Chief Inspector Ricardo Henson. December 1st, 1975, December 1st, 2019.
To see the gathering this afternoon to celebrate my farewell as a police officer in the police force of St. Martin. And I just want to say thank you so much for coming by, because I must say that it's only because of people like you that motivates me to do what I did. So that is just who I am. And as my wife said a while ago, my kids are the same. They have this driving force with them. I want to send out a special thanks to the police chief, and he gave you an extensive explanation of how our friendship is. It's because our friendship is not over. Our working relationship has changed some. But nevertheless, we will continue in close contact with each other, and we will continue doing. I will offer some assistance to whatever he would like me to help him do in the organization. I love this organization. I believe in the organization. From the beginning, I was there, helped build the organization. And I just want you to know that this organization belongs to you. So own it and do what you can do to promote it. Be an example to younger people. Be an example to your colleagues. Respect them so they can respect you. Don't talk behind their backs. Talk so that you can hear what you are saying. Talk to them. Don't talk about them. And that culture will have to change. We can do so much with nothing. Imagine if we had something. So let's keep this positive mind and let's move forward. The organization is in its infancy, it's still young. We are building it. I am honored and I am proud to have been part of the building of the organization. But now it's your turn to continue building it, because the people of St. Martin don't deserve nothing less than what we just call a 5-star police force. So let's do what we have to do. And once again, I want to thank you sincerely on behalf of my wife and my kids, Mr. Rogers, Mr. York. And I want to say the organization committee who did this, they really surprised me. They threw me out of the police station twice. Because they didn't want me to be in there. But nevertheless, I want to thank them so much. Belinda, Jesse, all from the organizing committee. Thank you so much. It's so many names I have to call, but if I do those, I have to do for every single person in here. So I want to make one whole general gratitude message, and I want to thank all of you so much. God bless you.